Hello, everyone. In this chapter, I am going to review chapter number 1, the economic problem. Let me discuss the learning objectives of this chapter. So these are the objectives. Number 1, we try to understand the concept of scarcity, choice, and opportunity cost. We also discuss the difference between efficiency and equity. We then define economics and differentiate between macroeconomics and microeconomics. I also discuss positive and normative statements or economics, same thing. So basically, it should have been number 2. So the second objective is to define economics and differentiate between macro and microeconomics. This course is microeconomics. I then discuss or explain 3 fundamental questions and then explain 4 ways economies can be organized. Then I will discuss production possibilities model or production possibilities curve to illustrate these 5 concepts: choice, opportunity cost, efficiency, and unemployment. Finally, I will list the economic goals of society and explain why they are often difficult to achieve. So at the last, we will discuss several economic goals of an economy. So let me discuss these objectives one by one. So these are some of the definitions that you should keep in mind. Number 1, resources. By resources, and resources have different terms that we use instead of this specific word resources. So resources or factors of production or inputs, they are the same things. So resources is basically anything used to produce goods and services. In the later slides, we will discuss these 4 factors of production or these 4 resources or these 4 inputs. So we know what do we mean by resources. Resources are nothing but factors of production. And the title says resources are scarce. By scarce or by scarcity, I mean insufficiency of resources or limited resources. So a country does not have enough resources to produce whatever it wants. And in that sense, I am saying that, that countries or any country has scarce resources simply because it is not possible to produce whatever we want. It's not possible. So either we can produce all capital goods, or we can produce all consumer goods, or a combination of these 2 goods. But we cannot produce whatever we want simply because of limited resources. So even the richest countries of the world, like Canada, like United States, France, UK, England, all these countries have limited resources. I know these countries have more resources compared to Somalia, to Sudan, to Bangladesh, compared to other developing nations. But those resources resources in developed part of the world are still scared. Why? Relative to their unlimited wants. And this is human psychology. This is human psychology. By human psychology, I mean that people have unlimited wants. This is written here on this slide as well. So because of because of scarce or limited resources, and by resources I mean factors of production, and unlimited wants. Why we have unlimited wants? This is simply human instinct. We always want to buy more. So when your income increases on individual basis, quickly you start consuming more. You want more. And then again you say that you have limited income. This is, human psychology. And because of these unlimited wants, every country uh, has scarce resources. Okay. And if this is the case, that is, if a country has limited resources and has unlimited wants, then people must make choices. It is not possible to buy whatever you want. It is not possible to produce whatever you want. You have to make choices simply because of insufficiency of resources. Okay. Now, how these choices are made, how we are going to make choices, because we have unlimited wants and we have limited resources. We have to make choices because we can't fulfill our wants, all wants, given our limited resources. So we have to make choices. How we are going to make these choices is nothing but the study of economics. So in economics, we study how to make these choices. Okay. So these are so far we talked about resources, that is factors of production or inputs. And these resources are limited for every country. Why? Because of unlimited wants. And since we have unlimited wants and limited resources, so we have to make choices. How are we going to make these choices is the study of economics. So once we know what do we mean by economics, then there are two broad branches of economics. One is called macroeconomics, the other one is called microeconomics. One with A, the other one with I. This course is microeconomics. That is MICRO, microeconomics. On your slide, you can read the definitions. When we analyze the whole country as one unit, this is called macroeconomics. And I'm going to give you examples of macroeconomics in a moment. When we study a single market, this study falls under the umbrella of microeconomics. So if we are analyzing one country like Canada as a whole, as one unit, that is called macro. If I'm discussing only one specific market in that country, for example, automobile industry in Canada, this is microeconomics. Why? Because I am just considering one sector of the economy, not the whole economy or whole country as one unit. So some of the examples of macroeconomics are unemployment. So if I tell you that unemployment rate in Canada is, let's say, 5%. I'm not talking about unemployment among skilled workers or among unskilled workers or among college professors. I'm not talking about any specific sector of the economy. I'm talking about for the whole country. The unemployment rate is 5% in whole country, Canada. That is macroeconomics. Inflation, for example, if inflation rate is, let's say, 4.9%, that is macroeconomics. I'm not talking about any specific sector of the economy. I'm talking about the whole country. Similarly, interest rates, economic growth. These are all examples of macroeconomics that we are not going to discuss here. The examples of microeconomics deals with a specific sector of the economy, right, or a specific or single market. For example, outcomes of decisions by people and firms, supply and demand analysis. Now, I'm not talking about supply and demand for everything. Let me give you an example. For example, if I want to discuss uh, tomatoes market in Red Deer, that is microeconomics. So I'm going to discuss the supply of tomatoes, demand for tomatoes, and then I'll calculate equilibrium price or market price of tomatoes in Red Deer, or market for automobiles, demand for automobiles, supply of an automobile, and then I'll see what is the equilibrium price or market price. Cost of production. Cost of production of not everything that are being produced in Canada. Cost of production of automobiles, cost of production of steel, cost of production of leather goods. So these are uh, some examples of microeconomics. And finally, market structures. So market structures, some firms or uh, some firms or even industry are in one market structure. For example, uh, the markets for wheat, the markets for automobile, the market for electricity, the market for uh, restaurants. These are four different markets. Market for wheats, you can see the product wheat is homogeneous or identical. Market for restaurants, you can see restaurants are differentiated. They are selling different food. Market for automobile, this market, in this automobile market, you have few firms in this industry, not large number of firms. Products are differentiated. So Toyota RAV4 is different than Ford Focus or Ford Escape. Then we have a market for electricity. So that is a monopoly market, or very similar to monopoly. So don't worry about this if you have no idea, because I know some of you have different backgrounds, other different than business backgrounds. So you don't need to worry. We will discuss all these market structures. That is perfect competition, monopolistic competition, oligopoly, and monopoly. These are the four market structures that we will discuss in chapter number 8, 9, 10, and 11. So don't worry about it. When we reach to that chapter, we will discuss these four market structures. Why these market structures fall under microeconomics definition? Because these are specific sector of the economy. I'm not talking about one country as a whole. Okay. So now you know the difference between microeconomics and macroeconomics. And remember that this course is microeconomics, right? Not macroeconomics. So now we discuss or differentiate between positive statements and normative statements. Positive statements are facts that can be verified with empirical data. So any statement that you can verify using data, these statements are called positive economics. Remember when I was giving you examples of macroeconomics, I gave you two examples that unemployment rate in Canada is 5%. That is positive statements. Why? Because you can definitely check this claim using data. So you can just go to Statistics Canada website and see what is unemployment rate in Canada. Similarly, when I said the inflation rate is 4.9% in Canada, you can easily check this statement. So these types of statements are positive statements. Normative statements, on the other hand, are based on a person's beliefs or value system. So these statements cannot be verified with data. You can't verify because these statements are based on your own beliefs, on your own value system. It's very difficult to verify, and it varies from individual to individual. For example, I can easily convert the two examples that I gave you. That is, the unemployment rate in Canada is 5%. I'm not saying that is the correct number. You can always check. And if you remember, I said that I think it's around 5%. And similarly, if I say that inflation rate is 4.9% in Canada, these are positive statements. I can convert these positive statements into normative. How? For example, if I say, the unemployment rate in Canada should not be more than 4.5%. Now, that is basically a normative statement because this is my belief that I think that unemployment rate should not be more than 4.5%. Some person, some individual might say, no, I think that it should be not more than 6.5%. So it is normative. This statement is based on value judgment. You can verify. Similarly, if I say that the inflation rate should be between 1 to 3%, that's a normative statement. I know that Bank of Canada targets inflation rate between 1 to 3%, right? But this is a normative statement. So if I say that inflation rate should be 2.7%, that is a normative statement because these are some of the words that we normally use in normative statement, like should be, or like designed. This word, that is, the policy is designed to achieve our goal. What do you mean by design? How can you verify this design using data? Design is a very vague word that is actually based on your own value system. So these types of sentences are called normative statements. Why we are discussing the difference between these two statements? Because in this course, most of the time, I am going to only restrict to positive statements. So we are going to discuss microeconomics with positive statements that you can verify. Right. So we are not going to discuss normative statements. We might discuss a little bit, but our main focus will be on positive statements. So remember, in the very first slide, I showed you that resources are scarce. That is, we have insufficiency of resources. We have limited resources. And I told you that there are two different terms that we can use to define economic resources. One was factors of production, and the other one was inputs. So here we are using the other term, that is factors of production. So there are four factors of production, and any inputs or resource that you use to produce anything must fall under these four categories. First one is labor, human, mental. So here, there's, just give me a sec. So human, comma, mental, and physical effort. So by labor, I mean skilled labor, unskilled labor, semi-skilled labor. So these are all included in this definition, that is labor. Second, land. Land does not mean a piece of land. Land is anything that is provided by nature. So any natural resource used to produce goods or services. Sometimes instead of land, we write natural resources. And that is why, because the short term for labor is we normally use as labor L, but land is also with L. That is the problem. So we write land as N, and by N I mean natural resource. Okay, so land is also a natural resource. Water is also a natural resource. Coal is also a natural resource. Crude oil is also a natural resource. So these are all different natural resources. Then we have capital that we represent with K, not C, capital K. So this is capital. And I'll tell you why we don't use capital C for capital, because capital C is used for another term. And then finally, enterprise or entrepreneurial ability, right? Or capability or entrepreneurship, whatever you call. But we call here enterprise. That is the human resource that innovates and takes risks. So this is the main difference between labor and enterprise. So entrepreneurs are also workers, but they innovate and they take risks. That is the difference. Let me give you some examples of all these four factors of production. So let me go to the examples. So these are the examples, right? And so see labor as L, capital as K, land as N, that is natural resource, and enterprise as E. So a barcode scanner in a supermarket. Let me see if I have the solution so that I just save time. No, I don't have. Okay. So a barcode scanner in a supermarket. So this is capital. Fresh drinking water, natural resource or land. Copper deposits in a mine, natural resource. A work of a system analyst, labor. The first application of e-technology to an economics textbook, which I am currently using. So that is called enterprise, something new, something innovative. An office building, there's no innovation in office building. So that is capital. Okay. Now let me go back to this slide. Now, this table simply shows you the earnings of these resources, economic resources. So we have four economic resources or four factors of production: labor, land, capital, and enterprise. And these are the earnings of these factors of production. So the earnings of labor are wages. Land, that is natural resources, you earn rent on natural resources. For capital, you earn interest. For enterprise, it's not wages, it's profit. Okay, so you have to remember this, right? Now, since your all four quizzes are open book, so you don't need to worry. You just, if you forget, then you can always check, using your PowerPoint slides. Okay, now we have two different types of products or goods. One is called consumer goods and services as well, and capital goods. So consumer goods are used by consumers So it satisfies their wants and needs. So any product that you purchase for your own consumption, those products are called, or that product is called consumer good. While capital goods such as factories, tools, and equipments, these goods are used to make other goods for sale. That is the difference between consumer goods and producer goods. Let me give you an example, and a very confusing example. Suppose if I buy a hammer from Canadian Tire and I use that hammer for my own personal use, that is consumer good. But suppose if I am a carpenter and I buy a hammer from the Canadian Tire to produce a chair, and then I want to sell that chair in the market, then that hammer is considered as capital good. So same product can be used as consumer good or capital good. But some of the products are purely consumer goods, some of the products are purely capital goods as well. Let me give you an example or several examples for these two types of goods. So the answers are already given in the slide. So I'll just explain. Decide whether each of the following is a consumer good. C. That is why I did not use capital C to explain capital. So capital C is used for consumer good or consumption. So a jackhammer is considered as capital good. A carton of cigarettes, consumer good. An office building is considered as a capital good. A toothbrush is a consumer good. And a farm tractor is a capital good. Okay. Now we talk about two different types of efficiency. One is productive efficiency and the other one is allocative efficiency. So first let me read the definitions. By productive efficiency, I mean production of an output at the lowest possible average cost. Remember, don't get confused. By productive efficiency, I don't mean lowest possible total cost, lowest possible average cost. So don't forget this. I'm sorry, hold on. Don't forget this average cost, right? So if you're producing at the minimum of average cost, that is average total cost, and I wrote here average total cost, ATC, it means you are productively efficient. So a firm, a producer is productive efficient if the firm or a producer is producing at its minimum average total cost. That is the meaning of productive efficiency. We will use this concept when we will discuss different market structures. Allocative efficiency. Production of that combination of outputs that best satisfy consumers' demand. And I've already written in the bracket, if you read, we will discuss these efficiencies when we talk about PPF. By PPF, I mean production possibilities frontier. So I will not discuss allocative efficiency in this slide. I've already discussed productive efficiency, that is the production at minimum average total cost. But we will discuss allocative efficiency after discussing production possibilities frontier. Okay, so let's move to the next slide and we'll discuss this PPF in the last slide, I believe. So these are the three fundamental questions that we want to answer. Number one, what to produce. So that's a big challenge for the governments or for the producers as well, whether to produce capital goods or consumer goods. Second question, how to produce? Should these producers use capital intensive technology or should these producers use labor intensive technologies? By capital intensive technologies, I mean use more capital and less labor. And by labor intensive technologies, I mean use more labor and less capital. And then for whom? That is, what is the distribution mechanism? And by distribution mechanism, I mean who are going to consume those goods and services. One simple method is market system. By market system, whoever can afford to pay the price will consume that product. So that is one way of one distribution mechanism. So this mechanism, this is one mechanism, and there are others as well, which we are not going to discuss. We are only discussing these three fundamental questions. I will discuss this distribution, mechanism later. Now, these are four different types of economic system that how actually whole system uh, works. And I've given you in the brackets some examples as well. So all these systems are is still in place today. One system is traditional economic system. That is basic barter system in rural areas. So there's no price involved in that system. Barter system means exchanging goods and services using other goods and services. So for example, if I want to buy mangoes and if I have oranges, so I'll find someone who is willing to uh, buy my oranges and in return, I'm going to get his or her mangoes. That is called barter system. And we still have this system in remote areas of Bhutan and Haiti. Then the other system is command economic system. This is what we call socialism. By command economic system, I mean government will control everything. So there's no private entity. There's no private production. Government will decide how many consumer goods will be produced or how much. And I mean, everything will be decided by the government. So some examples are even today, North Korea, a little bit of Cuba, not anymore, and also the former Soviet Union. Then we have market economic system, and this is what we call laissez-faire or laissez-faire. By laissez-faire, I mean allow to do. So government is allowing private sectors to produce whatever they want. So there's no government intervention. So this is what we call free market economy. That is, producers are not regulated by the government. That is called laissez-faire. Don't confuse with capitalism, right? The fourth one is called mixed system. And I gave you example for market economic system as Hong Kong and Australia. Again, these boundaries are overlapping. So some economists believe that US should also be in market economic system. In mixed system, we have both components. That is command economic system and market economic system. So we have some private sector in the country and some sectors are controlled by the government. But again, it's difficult because in some countries the role of government is much more than other countries. For example, Canada. Canada, the role of government is pretty severe, right? Particularly in health sector. So completely owned by government. K-12 education, completely controlled by government. Not completely, but 95%. Unlikely in US, the medical is not 100%, or health sector is not 100% controlled by the government. So again, these countries have mixture of both command and market economic system. There are other examples of mixed system, such as Scandinavian countries, like Denmark, Norway, Sweden. So these are Finland, sorry. So these are some countries that are, that have both component. Uh, the command economic system is slightly more than market economic system. So capitalist societies, not capitalism laissez-faire. Capitalism, if I say, if a country is capitalist, so capitalist countries are basically have both components. That is command and market economic system. Okay? Even if you don't understand these four systems, you have to go and read chapter number 1, which I am assuming you've already read in this week. Now, this is the last topic. Remember, production. Now, in the last slide, let me go back and show you. So basically, I'm intentionally using different terms or terminologies. So in this slide, if you noticed, I had used PPF, that is production, possibilities, frontier. Okay. Now, in this slide, I am saying production, possibilities, model. And again, I'm now saying production, possibilities, curve. They are the same thing. They are the same thing. So if I write P, P, M, if I write P, P, C, if I write P, P, F, they are the same thing. Production possibilities model, production possibilities curve, production possibility frontier. They are the same thing. Okay, so I'm erasing this. But since I'm recording, so it's already recorded. Oops, sorry. Let me erase. Hold on a second. Yeah. So now see this. Just give me a second. Oops, sorry. Yeah. So production possibilities curve is a diagram basically. Is a graphical representation of the various combinations of maximum output that can be produced from the available resources and technology. And by resources, I mean all four factors of production. Okay. The assumptions of this model are full employment. So all resources are fully employed. Use of the best technology available. So you're using latest technology and productive efficiency. Remember, productive efficiency means that I'm assuming that these producers are producing at the minimum ATC, that is average total cost. So let me show you the shape of the production possibilities curve or frontier. So this is a typical shape of the production possibility curve or frontier. So notice first 3 points, these 3 points. Just give me a sec. So just notice these 3 points. A, C, oh sorry, B, I'm sorry, B, C, and D. These 3 points, B, C, and D, are on the line, on the prediction possibility curve, on this green line, right? That is why I call it frontier. So these 3 points are on these on the curve, on this green curve. All points that are on the frontier are efficient point. So not only B, C, and D. So if I have anything somewhere here, if I have anything here, if I so all points on that lie on this frontier are efficient points. Why I'm saying efficient? That is productive efficient. So the production at point B, production at point C, production at point D. These are three different production combinations of two goods. One is butter and the other is gun. This is the best production point. Best means that the average total cost is minimum. That is. And also all these 3 points has full employment. So there are no unemployment in this uh, country. Okay. If I'm assuming that this is for the whole country. Although I said that this is microeconomics. So I'm not considering everything, but I, just define this in that fashion. Now, let's see this first, these three questions, right? And basically what I'm doing, I'm solving these questions, and by solving these questions, I'm trying to explain three important concepts. Number one, if society produces 1,000 units of butter, okay, so let's see this. And let me pick the, hold on a second. It's too much. Let me fix the font size and the color that is more visible. Okay, if society produces 1,000 units of butter, so I will pick this butter 1,000. Okay, how many guns can it produce? So this country or society, if this country is producing 1,000 butter, then the maximum that this country can produce guns would be 400. You can see this point. This country cannot produce more than 400 guns. It is not possible. Why? Because this is a maximum production level. The only possible way that you can produce more than 400 guns and also 1,000 butter, then you must be somewhere here, which is beyond the production possibility frontier. So that point is not attainable. Yes, in the long run, it is attainable. Maybe after 1 year, 2 years, the country has a new technology that will increase the productivity of workers. Yes, it is possible that this whole curve shifts to the right like this. And yes, then this point is on the new production possibility frontier and is feasible. It is possible, but not in the short run. As long as the green line is the PPF, then you cannot produce more than 400 guns if you are producing, given that you are producing 1,000 butter. Okay, so definitely you can produce more than 400 guns, but you have to then reduce the production or decrease the production of butter. So let me clear all these annotations. Annotations, I mean, not Okay, then B, if society is at B on the PPC, that is production possibilities curve. So suppose if we are already here, if I know that the country is producing at point B, I know this. Okay. What is the cost? Although it is written as cost, but this cost is called opportunity cost. Why? Because remember, opportunity cost is the cost of producing one product in terms of another product, not in terms of dollars. You could definitely measure opportunity cost in terms of dollars as well. But here in this diagram, I am measuring the cost of producing one additional 1,000 units of butter in terms of number of guns. Okay, so this is what I'm calculating. So I'm calculating what is the cost, that is opportunity cost of 1,000 more units of butter. So suppose if I move from this 1,000 butter to 2,000 butter, what would happen? If I move from this point to this point, what is happening? So basically you're producing more butter. Then you have to reduce the production of guns. It is not possible that you can produce more butter without giving up guns. How many guns you are giving up? I can see from this diagram this. That is 400 minus 300, 100. So I have to give up 100 guns. That is, I have to produce 100 less guns to produce 1,000 more butter. So if I ask you, what is the opportunity cost of producing one additional 1,000 of butter? The answer would be 100 guns. Why? Because you are giving up 100 guns. So technically, what you are doing, you are taking workers, labor from this industry, gun industry, and you are employing these workers in the butter industry. That is the reason why you are producing more guns or butter, sorry, and your production of guns is decreasing. Okay. Now the second question is, so you know how to calculate opportunity cost, and I just strongly encourage you to go and solve those practice questions, right? Now part C, is opportunity cost greater for move from C to D, to A, to a move from B to C? We have already calculated opportunity cost from B to C, and you have already so see, if I go, hold on a second, hold on, let me fix the font. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's fine. So see, I've already done this. If you move from B to C, that is in this, already done this. If you move from B to C, that is in this direction. Okay. So if you move from B to C, you see you are giving up 100 guns. Okay. Now see, if you move from point C to point D, save 1,000 butter again, from 2,000 to 3,000. Here the increase in butter production will be the same. So every time you are increasing 1,000 units of butter. But notice, when you move from B to C, you give up 100 guns. But when you move from C to D, you are giving up more butter, 150, not 100 this time. Okay. So basically, as you keep producing more and more and more butter, the opportunity cost of producing these additional butter increases from 100 to 150. Okay. And because of this increasing opportunity cost, look at the shape of the production possibility frontier. It's like this. It's not a straight line. It's like this. Okay. So we have a specific name. And let me first erase this and then I'll show you. Let me erase this. Just give me a sec. Yeah. So I can't add the extra page now. Okay, that's fine. So this is the shape. Let me draw here. Sorry. Okay, hold on. I'm sorry, but I hope you get my point. So see, this is a typical shape of a PP curve, production possibility curve. This shape is called board outward. Right? Let me write here. Board outward. So production possibilities curve board outward because of increasing opportunity cost. Because you can see opportunity cost every time when you increase the production of 1,000 butter, the number of guns that you give up increases. First it's 100 and then it's 150. Sorry, 150. Now why? Why when you keep producing additional 1,000 butter, why you have to give up more and more and more? Why opportunity cost is increasing? Why we have this board outward shape of the production possibility frontier? Simply because the factors of production or resources or inputs are not suitable for the production or are not substitutable. Let me put it this way. That is, if you take those who are employed here in this production, that is production of arms and ammunition, and you are taking these workers in the production of butter, what do you expect them? So initially, if you are here, maybe some of the bakers are working here. And if you take them here, it will not impact the production of guns, but you can increase the production of butter. But as you keep producing more butter, then you have left all very specialized workers that are only suitable for the production of guns. And if you take them and employ in this industry, they don't know how to produce butter. And therefore, you have to take large number of these workers to produce 1,000 butter. Large number of these workers means large decrease in the production of guns. So because of the non-substitutability of these factors of production in these two different sectors, we have board outward shape of production possibilities curve of frontier. Let me give you another example. So this is not always going to be the shape. Normally we have this shape, but sometimes you have a straight line like this. Let me draw here, and I'm sorry because let me see if I have other space I can. Hold on, just give me a second. Okay, just give me a sec, right? Let me first. Hold on. Why not I just first take a blank sheet here? Yeah, so that is much easier for me. Now see, I'm just giving you another example, okay? Suppose okay. So now I'm taking two products, right? On the horizontal axis, I am taking brown bread, and here I'm taking white bread. Now, if you see these two products require same workers, same machinery, same technology, same ingredients, and very much similar. So factors of production are 100% substitutable between these two different products. So if you draw a production possibility frontier, the production possibility frontier would look like this. It's a straight line. So for example, if you produce one brown bread, and if you increase the production of 2 to 3 to 4, every time when you increase one bread, you have to give up same number of white bread, not necessarily one, any number. Let's take 2. Are you getting my point? What I'm saying, that every time when you produce one brown bread additional, you have to give up 2 white bread. It could have been one brown white bread. It could have been half white bread, but the number is constant. Every time it's constant. So notice, if I calculate the slope of this curve, what is the slope? Slope is the basically rise over run. So let's take between these 2 points. If I calculate slope between A and B, so what is rise? Rise is 2. What is run? This 2 minus 1 is 1. So minus 2. So slope is minus 2. So the slope of, the slope of a straight line is constant. So slope of this line is constant, that is minus 2. And slope is nothing but the opportunity cost. So opportunity cost in this case is constant. And that is why this curve is not bowed outward. Now, if the factors of production are not substitutable in the two industries, that is, if the two industries are totally different, for example, this is wheat industry, so you need farmers, and you have computer industry, now you need all computer engineers, right? So they are not, factors of production are not substitutable. So production possibility frontier would be like this. This is concave. So now see, I told you that opportunity cost is nothing but the slope of this curve. And slope is increasing. Why? Because I just told you opportunity cost is increasing for this board outward shape curve. So if I calculate slope at this point, so I draw a line, tangent line like this, that this is the slope of this line. And if I draw here, see, the slope is this. So you can see this line is much flatter, and I'm write F as flatter. And this line is more steeper as S. So this line, if I place a ball here, it will fall much quickly here. If I place a ball here, it will go down slowly. So it means this line has lower slope, this line has higher slope. So slope is increasing as you move in this direction. That is why we say that if the curve is bowed outward, it means it has increasing opportunity cost. And why opportunity cost is increasing? Simply because factors of production are non-substitutable. Okay, I think that is enough for production possibility of frontier. But now let me discuss last 2 topics. One is of course related to, both are related to actually PPC. So let me draw this diagram again. So suppose now I'm taking 2 specific product. Okay, let's take one product is wheat. Okay, and by wheat I mean food. Okay, and the other one I take, let's say I take excuse me, I take let's take okay, hold on. Let me change this. Sorry, I'm sorry. Oh, sorry. Erase. Let me erase this. Let's take. Sorry, I'm sorry. Oh, sorry. Erase. Let me erase this. Let's take. Let's take here. Health services. Okay. Any specific health services. And here I take education. Okay, that is expenditure on education, expenditure on health is a product, right? And I draw a production possibility frontier like this. Of course, factors of production are not perfectly substitutes, right? You can't expect a surgeon is teaching at a primary school. Okay, similarly, a primary school teacher is not going to operate patients. Okay, so they are not substitutable. That's why I have concave. Concave. I should not have used this word. Is board outward curve. Okay. Now, suppose government decides that the production level will be here at point A. This is the production level. That is, government is providing this much of health and this much of K-12 education. I'm not talking about higher education, K-12 education. That is from first grade to 12th grade, high school basically. Okay, this is the government decision. Now suppose consumers or citizens of this country, they are not satisfied. They think that the health facilities should be provided more compared to education, and they think that government should produce at this point B. Remember, both points are efficient. I told you when I was discussing a production possibility curve, I told you that any point, that lies on this curve is efficient. So point A is efficient, point B is also efficient, right? Because point B lies on this line. Similarly, point A also lies on the same line, right? So all those points that lie on this curve are all efficient. So there's no problem of productive efficiency. So we have productive efficiency as point A, we have productive efficiency at point B as well. But the problem here is that consumers or buyers or citizens, they are saying that government or producers should produce at this point, but producers are actually producing at this point. So this is the production point. This is the consumption point. Consumers want to consume this much of education and this much of health. Producers are producing this much of health and this much of education. So see, there's a mismatch of production and consumption. This is called allocative inefficiency. By allocative inefficiency, I mean that what the producers are producing, but consumers don't need those goods and services. So for example, if I am demanding, let's say, chairs, and producers are producing sofas, they are efficient. They are still producing at the minimum average total cost. So they are productive efficient, but they are not allocative efficient, because what consumers are demanding, chairs, they are producing sofas. That is a mismatch. So we want to make sure that we have both efficiencies. That is productive efficiency, also allocative efficiency as well. So what would be the allocative efficiency if producers are also producing at point B and consumer also wants to consume this much? So if these 2 points matches, that is allocative efficiency. Are you getting my point? Now let me go back to your slide and then show you this slide. Let me go back. I don't know how to do this, but just give me a sec and I'll go back to this chapter. Okay, it will take a few seconds to upload. Okay, so just give me a second. Let me go to that. Yeah, so this is the slide. Now read the definition. Allocative efficiency. Production of that combination of outputs, not point A, but point B actually, that best satisfies consumers' demand as well. So suppose if consumer demand is at point B, then production point should also be at point B. If this is the case, then we call it allocative efficiency. Okay? And we'll discuss this allocative and productive efficiency in more detail in later chapters. But you have some basic idea of these two concepts. Okay, so let me go back to this. We have already done this test your understanding slide. Sorry. Now, I've already discussed this. When I draw one PPF curve, which I call it PP1, then with the passage of time or over a longer period of time, this curve is also shifting rightward. So this country is over the time, over the years, is able to produce more cars and more wheat. There's something wrong with the spelling, but this is wheat and this is cars. So the country is producing both cars and wheat over a longer period of time. In the short run, it is not possible. In the short run, you will move along the same curve, this curve. In the short run, if you want to produce more cars, you have to reduce wheat. Simple. But in the long run, yes, it is possible. You can produce more of cars as well as wheat. Okay, so that's possible. But this is only in the long run. This is what we call economic growth. So this table, oh sorry, not table, this diagram shows that we have balanced growth. What is the meaning of balanced growth? Balanced growth means that this country is now capable of producing more cars, but also more wheat as well. So this is a balanced growth. So the country is growing in both sectors, right? In the automobile sector and in the agricultural sector. Okay. Then we have this is what we call, although it's not mentioned here, but if you read the textbook, you'll find there. This is what we call biased growth or unbalanced growth. So notice the growth is taking place only in the automobile sector. There's no growth in the wheat sector. But it does not mean that you cannot produce more wheat. So don't get confused. If there's no growth in wheat sector, even you can produce more wheat. How? This is shown here. So if you are at this point initially, after the growth, suppose if you are producing at point D, see what is happening. You are not producing more cars. The production of cars is still the same, but you are, since your capability or your ability to produce cars has gone up, so maybe you have more advanced technology, so maybe your workers are more productive, so you produce this number of cars using less workers, and you now transfer other workers to the production of wheat, and now you can produce more of wheat. So see, although there's no growth in wheat sector, but still you can produce more wheat. The other option is you can produce both more wheat and more cars if you move from point A to point C. And also you can go to B point, that is no change in wheat, so you are still producing same wheat, but you are now producing more cars. So even if there's a biased growth, the production of both products will increase. Okay. Now, so these are the macroeconomic goals, and I really don't know why we should discuss this, right? So, although I showed you, see, sorry. So basically, this objective we're now going to cover. Okay, that is, list the economic goals of society and explain why they are often difficult to achieve. Why I'm saying this? Because economic goals of the society for the whole country. So we are not discussing basically macroeconomics. We are discussing microeconomics. Nevertheless, let me quickly, maybe less than 1 minute, just review these goals, right? Those of you who have already taken macroeconomics course, they understand. Okay, they understand. Those of you who have not taken macroeconomics course yet, they will uh, learn these goals in that course. Improve standard of living, economic growth, full employment, stable prices. See, notice all these variables are related for the whole economy. Stable prices for the whole country, full employment for the whole country, high GDP growth for the whole country, viable balance of international trade for the whole country, not for a specific sector, manageable government debt and deficit for the whole country. So these are all macroeconomic goals, which is not included in this course. I'm not going to ask any questions on these goals, right? So even if you don't read these slides, I have no issue. Since I've attached with these slides, that is why I am just showing you these slides. So the last slide is also irrelevant, totally irrelevant. This is macroeconomic tools. I should have actually removed these last two slides, right, from this session, but I haven't actually deleted, and it is not possible for me to re-record the whole session again, right? There's no point. So if you have any confusion, don't hesitate to contact me. Once again, my number is 587 998 7779. So text me if you have any confusions. So this last slide, macroeconomic tools, and this slide, these are, let me do this way so that you remember, these are not included in this course, right? But in macro, we discuss these topics. So these two slides are not so you are responsible only up to these first 17 slides, and on your course website I will remove these last two slides from your PowerPoint slide side. So I'm sorry for the inconvenience this might cost you. So that's all as far as chapter number 1 is concerned. And make sure when you watch the recorded session for chapter number 2, after watching both recorded sessions, then attempt quiz number 1. Okay, so thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye.